there are several things that we need to take into consideration, and we actually have this documented in several places. We do quick start guides. It's in every one of our owner's manuals. It's in our user guide as well. But the proper setup preparations are first get into that site, get yourself positioned on that site where you think it's going to be most applicably level. You want to try to be as level as possible. You know, we have the leveling jacks, of course, but get it to be as good as you can get it before we start that process. Now, the one thing that we want to make sure is that your wheels are completely straight. So go ahead and take a peek out that front window, make sure those front wheels are straight. We don't want to cause any damage to those. Once you turn that coach off, you can run those slide outs out. Now, that is a difference that we are between anyone else. As Entegra Coach, we've manufactured our coaches so that you need to run those slide outs on the airbags. That's the only time you should ever run those slide outs, is when you're on ride height on those airbags. So first off, make sure you're at that site level, make sure your front tires are straight, then we will run out our slide outs. After the slide outs out, then you can go ahead and level up that coach. So using your hydraulic leveling or your air leveling at that point, you can level up the coaches at that point. Again, always make sure that we run the slide outs first on ride height before you level the coach.
So now that we've set up camp, what's your best recommendation to tear it down? So
tearing down after you've been camping, you're ready to leave, it's kind of exactly opposite of how we set up. So the first thing is going to be make sure we have everything stored properly, antennas, anything we have underneath the coach we want to get stored, put inside the basement. Get all your things gathered up so that you don't have things spread out. And then the first thing we're going to do is air that coach up. So to air that coach up properly, you need to start the engine. We advise that you use that high idle. It'll help that process go a little bit faster. So start the engine, put the cruise control on high idle. Once that high idle is achieved, you can verify that your tanks are pressurized by checking the gauges. That's your front and rear air tanks. Once those have achieved their air and their capacity, then you can go ahead and hit all retract on the leveling pad, so the equalizer leveling panel on the driver's side. You can go ahead and hit all retract. That will raise the jacks and also start the airbag air up process. So this may take a couple minutes for those jacks to come all the way up and for the airbags to fully inflate. We want to make sure that we go out and confirm that those airbags are fully inflated, and we can do that just by visually checking, make sure that the tire is clear out from underneath the fender. So as long as that tire is not up underneath that fender, we're pretty safe in saying that we're at ride height where it needs to be. And once we have confirmed we're at ride height, it's now safe to go ahead and run those slide outs. But before you run the slide outs, let's check and make sure that you have that driver and passenger seat moved as far forward as it will go, so that we're not going to catch that slide out on the driver and passenger seat when we retract them.